The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our webinar, An Introduction to the Cheng Library Alumni Resources Guide, presented by Sarah Hughes, Ann Close Rubes, and Gary Marks, all members of the staff at the Cheng Library. Before I introduce today's presenters, I'd like to go over how the webinar works. If you have attended some of our webinars, you'll know that you should be able to see the presentation on your computer screen. Right now, you should see the homepage from William Patterson University. You'll also be able to hear the presentation through your computer's audio system. Our presenters today are going to be walking you through the resources guide, which is on the screen, and showing you exactly how to access the materials as you would be doing remotely. You can still ask questions by typing them in. On the side, you have your panel, and we will be monitoring your questions and answer them throughout the presentation or at the end of the webinar. Any questions that aren't answered in today's webinar will be addressed after the webinar is completed. So once again, feel free to type in your questions and we will get to them today, probably. So now I'd like to introduce today's speakers and topic. Sarah Hughes joined the Cheng Library in 2017 as the Access Services Librarian. She works within the Lending Services Department and oversees circulation, course reserves, stack maintenance, and patron-related services. She holds a BA in Anthropology and minor in Cinema Studies from Rutgers University and an MS-LIS from Pratt Institute. Anna Close-Rubes is the Digital Initiatives Librarian. She holds a BFA in Film and Television from NYU and an MLIS from Rutgers University. Anna's areas of specialization include digitation, metadata, digital archives and libraries, and institutional repositories. She joined the Cheng Library in 2017 as well. Gary Marks holds a BA degrees in History and Political Science, as well as an MA in Public Policy and International Affairs, all from William Patterson University. He earned an MLIS degree from Rutgers University and is pursuing a PhD in Public Policy, Law, and Administration from Walden University. Gary started working in the library as a student assistant in 1997 and has continued his service in the Cheng Library ever since, so 21 years, working in both lending services and intra-library loan prior to his current role in reference. Outside of the library, Gary has also served as an adjunct professor. In today's webinar, Sarah, Anna, and Gary will introduce you to the new WPUNJ Alumni Resources Guide designed by the David and Lorraine Cheng Library. You will learn about library access for alumni, open access, OA, and open educational resources, OER, and freely available research tools. This presentation is great for alumni interested in professional development and continuing education. And now I'd like to introduce our presenters, Sarah Hughes, Anna Close-Rubes, and Gary Marks. Thank you, guys.
Okay, hello everyone. Thank you for joining us, fellow Pioneer alums like myself. Before we get started, I just wanted to outline real quick what we're presenting on today. We are presenting on Alumni Resources LibGuide that we have generated. It is basically a way for alumni to access a plethora of academic and professional development resources without actually having to pay for them or without actually having to come to the library. There is a difference between what we're talking about providing and what you can actually get fully. The guide is a way to access these resources without having to come to the library, but it does not include everything that the library pays for the subscription materials that are limited to just students. Those materials you can get access to when you come to the library. Sarah will give you a little bit of a more introduction on those things. But I just want to make sure that everybody's aware of what we're talking about here and what we compiled for you. So with that getting started, I'm going to turn it over to Sarah, who's our Access Services Librarian, to talk to you a little bit about the guide, how to get started, and general library resources.
Okay, thank you, Gary. So first things first, I just want to demonstrate how one would be able to access the library homepage from the WP main page. So we're located under Academics, and as you can see, we're located under Academic Resources and Library. So this is our main page that our students, faculty, staff use. But I just want to go over a couple things on here because It may have been some time since you graduated. This page may look a little different to you. So I'm just going to touch on some things that will just help you get oriented with this page. So first things first, at the bottom right-hand corner, we have our library hours. This is set up right now just for the week out. But if you're coming from a distance and you want to make sure that we're open, always double check our page here just to make sure that we're open. We also have the semester schedule listed. So if you want to come like a month from now, if you click that link, you'll just see our hours for the semester. So then as we move across, we have some social media on the left-hand side. So if you want to follow us, we have Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, all that fun stuff. So, please follow us. We also have an online chat service. So where it says chat with a librarian, when you click that link on the pop-up will appear where you'd be able to chat with a librarian. So while this service is primarily intended for students, it's open to anybody. And the other thing that's nice about this chat service is that it's 24/7. So any time of day, 2 o'clock in the morning, you have a pressing question that you want to chat with a librarian, someone will be there to answer your question for you. We also have a Contact Us tab in the middle, and a lot of this information will be on the guide that we're going to show you. But I just want to show you a lot of the resources that are available from this homepage. And then finally, in the middle, you can see where we have the search all functionality. We'll be getting into this a little bit more specifically, but there's different ways that you would be able to search across, whether it be databases or where it says find articles, if you had the title of an article that you were interested in finding, books and media. So if you want to check out something from our circulating collection, you'd click the book and media tab. Databases, which we'll get into, journals A to Z. So if there's a particular journal that you were interested in seeing if we had access to, you could search for it there. But right now, we're going to go into where it says research guides, and I'm going to show you how to access the alumni page that we've developed for you. So you would just type in alumni and click search, and the first link where it says home, you would click on that. And my understanding is that you have the link to this page directly. So if you can't remember how to get back to it, you have that link with you available. So right now, I'm going to go over some information on this home page about resources available in the library to you. So in terms of borrowing material, as an alumni, you definitely have access to using material in our circulating collection. And that includes not only print books, but we have DVDs, CDs, all sorts of items that you'd be able to search for on that homepage that I showed you. So definitely take advantage of that. Just as an aside, for anyone in education, we have a curriculum material collection that has information specific to, information for education. So if you want to get children's books or praxis guides, again, we have that for you as alumni that may be in education. Again,
I want to interrupt this, Sharon. This is Sharon. I don't know if you're far from the microphone, but you're coming across a little bit echoey. Maybe get a little closer.
sure.
Much better.
Is that better?
I think that is better.
Great. So like I mentioned, if you have something particular in mind that you're interested in searching for, you'd be able to do so on our homepage, on our public access catalog. Okay, so say for example, you come across some material in our collection that you're interested in looking at or borrowing. Just say you come over to the library, you drive over, and you want to check out that book now. So as I mentioned, you're eligible to borrow material from our collection. However, you're going to want to make sure that you bring an active alumni card. So, make sure that you have that with you before you come to the library. And there's information on the page right there about who to call, who to email if you want more information on that. So say you come in person, present the alumni card to us at our lending services desk. If you're not already in our library system, we'll register you. So we'll just ask for basic information, your address, phone number, email, all that. And once you're in our system, you're eligible to borrow up to 30 items for 28 days with us. And that includes one renewal. So you definitely take advantage of that. We do send out courtesy notices via email, so you would be notified if something's coming due soon or perhaps it's overdue. And just keep in mind that you would be responsible for any fines or fees, just as our normal students would be as well. Just have to make sure that's clear. Okay, so next piece, you're on campus, you came to the library already. Why not take advantage of some of the material that you would have on campus? And that includes our databases. So that entails having access to the Cheng Library computers. So while, again, the library is primarily intended for currently enrolled students, computers are available to not only students, but community and alumni users. So once you would have access to our computers, that would entail having access to our online resources, including the databases, ebooks, journals like that online. But just to emphasize, for computer access on site, you have to apply for what we call a guest account. And there's a link there with information on that. To apply for a guest account, you would go to the reference desk, and you'd have to provide information on valid ID, basically. And this, again, I just want to stress, it's a desktop computer. So unfortunately, we don't provide Wi-Fi access at this time. But once you're logged in, once you have the guest account, you would have essentially the same access that a student would to our information. I just also want to throw in there is an option if you want to print as well. You would just have to sign up for what we call Pioneer Express campus card, and you'd have to pay a fee if you want to print any information that you found on the databases or articles. But of course, you could send yourself PDFs via email if that wasn't an option for you. Okay, so that's kind of just an overview of some of the services that would be available to you both remotely and in person at the library.
Okay, so now let's get into the resources guide that we have here. And we're going to start with Anna, who's going to talk to you a little bit about the open access repositories, what we call OA.
All right, so first off, for any of you who are not familiar with this, there's a whole thing called the open access movement, where people have realized because of the internet, there's new opportunities to share scholarship and other works, and it can even be code, data sets, pretty much anything across the web. And so this has given us some opportunities, and it's kind of counter to what we've traditionally had in academia and scholarship. So first off, we have what is considered green open access, or green OA. And it is the idea of repositories that store information. And some of these are subject-based, and some of these are based with an institution. So for instance, we have something like PubMed Central, where you're focusing on, are they opening it from there? Okay, you're showing it from there, which has various biomedical and life science journal literature. So that's an example of an open access repository. But there's also ones that are institution-based. So for instance, we have a repository called WP Sphere. I'm just going to open a link to it and show it to you briefly. It's new, so it doesn't have that much in it. But a lot of institutions these days, whether it's Rutgers or Harvard or even smaller institutions like William Patterson and Lafayette College, and there's some examples there, have institutional repositories that store works from faculty, students, and staff. And this is something that's really important to know because it's free. And a lot of times these repositories store the published version of a journal, or it might be the accepted version of the manuscript that got published without the fancy formatting, or it may be the manuscript that was submitted. And this is the way that we are trying to share scholarship in ways that previously were not available. So this is a fabulous resource for you, and sorry, there's PubMed. And as you can see, there's a number of subject-based repositories, and this is just a short list. What you want to keep in mind is we have other links to open access, for instance, the open access directory, which leads you to a variety of resources. This is the kind of thing that's growing every day. We have, for instance, Archive, which is another resource. So it's something you want to learn about. But the other thing to keep in mind is that Google Scholar is a great resource, and there are ways that make it easier to find free versions of paid publications. So for instance, if I publish something in a journal, which I have, and then I submit a version that may be the accepted manuscript to a repository, these resources like Unpaywall, Lazy Scholar, and the Open Access button can help you find the free versions. And just to use an example, we've installed Unpaywall on here. It is an extension for Chrome or Firefox. And I'm going to go to Google Scholar and look up an example we had. So in this case, we have a published journal article. Now, it's going to look a little different for you because you do not have access to the library resources off campus, but when you click on this item at the journal site, we have the browser there. I don't know if you can see a little, if you have this extension plugged in, you're going to see like a little green open lock symbol on the side, and obviously if you don't install it, you won't, but that's the kind of thing that'll help you find a free version of the resource if it exists. And if there isn't a free version, it will be a light gray closed lockbox. So that's something that can be really helpful. And in fact, Google Scholar is also a way that people can find works that are in our repository. And one thing to keep in mind with these open access repositories is it can be more than just journal articles. It can be conference papers, it can be PowerPoint slides from conferences. There's just a wide variety of content. In one case, we had a book chapter that a faculty member had published, and we were able to put it in WP Sphere. So the other thing to keep in mind is there's also open access journals. And these are journals that allow you to view the articles free of charge. Now, they're not exactly completely free of charge because a lot of times the people that submit the articles may or may not have to pay a fee. But for you as an end user, you have the joy of reading this stuff for free. And a great resource is the Directory of Open Access Journals. And it will help you find a number of journals that are really great. And I know that you can also search by subject. So for instance, if you are in education, you're going to find there's 70,128 journals that are open access related to education. Then you can refine it more. So for instance, I'm going to say that I want English. And this is an international resource. So some of these are resources that have English issues in other countries. But you can also find things that are just from a specific university. There's just an enormous amount of options out there, and it's free. And I have to tell you that not only is Gary part of the alumni club, but Sarah and I are graduate students, so we're going to be part of the alumni club too, so we think about what is going to work for you as well. So just be aware that there are these great resources. There's also PLOS One, for instance. Sorry, they're linked on the guide. I found it quicker to type it. And again, more open access journal articles. And a lot of this stuff is peer-reviewed, so it is the same as traditional publishing. It's just free of charge to see. So I'm going to hand this back over to Sarah.
Anna, so these are all different databases, right? Basically, all of these, like the OA repository, these all give you access to different databases?
It's not. It's a form of database, but they're not like the ones that we pay for.
Okay.
they're freely accessible content. The journals are not specifically databases. The repositories are. Repositories have stuff that comes from all different sources. The journals are like a traditional journal, only it's free to view.
Okay.
Does that clarify it?
I think so, yeah, because people are saying, do we have access to online databases? They want to read academic articles, and all these, the repositories, everything, the journals, they all have the academic articles.
Yes.
Yes. I can do that through these OA repositories and specifically the OA journals, because again, the repositories can have more than just peer-reviewed articles.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, so if they're education made individuals that are in teaching, they can actually go to the repositories and see other presentations that may have been PowerPoints at education conferences that you might not find in even these subject databases that you might only find in repositories.
And you wouldn't find them in a journal, probably, right?
Correct.
Yeah. A lot of the stuff in repositories, they also have stuff that is not published. And I know from experience, we've had faculty put things in there that were conference papers that are not available anyplace else. As for the journals, yes, you can look at the specific journal and verify what their process is, whether it's peer reviewed, whether it's double-blind peer reviewed, and stuff like that, because that's what you're going to look at in terms of the quality of the journal.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, so next on the guide at the top where it says resources by college and academic unit, I'm going to talk a little bit right now about open educational resources, or OER for short. So this has been kind of like a buzzword or term here in libraries for some time. And for those interested in professional development, these are definitely resources that would be of use to you, particularly those that might be in education and are teaching and want to think of ways to have resources that are more accessible to students regardless of cost. So what are OERs? Essentially, it's any sort of teaching or learning or research source released under an open license that permits their free use and repurposed by others. And so pretty much OERs can include anything from textbooks, full text courses, lesson plans, videos, tests, any sort of tool that kind of supports access to education. And we kind of detail here in terms of the permissions. Some of you may be familiar with Creative Commons, the licensing that can apply to OERs that makes it reusable. And then, so if you're thinking of the benefit of OER, there's those that are producers of OER and those that consume it. So again, educators, people in the classroom, if you want to develop your own custom textbook or work off of one, you can repurpose it and develop the textbook or lesson plan to cater your needs for your students. And consumers of OER, that can be pretty much anyone that has access to it. Again, the stress on our end, at least in the library, is that there's a financial barrier for students that may not necessarily be able to afford a $300 math textbook to be only used during one semester. So really, OER is a way of taking teaching instruction, outside the traditional model of the classroom or the textbook. And when you go to the top of our guide here and hover over the link here, you can see that we've broken down OER resources by the college, but we also have it for individual areas. So I'm just going to click into the College of Business here, and we broke it down by the subject areas. So for those interested in accounting, we have some links to some of the bigger popular guides. So OER Commons is a pretty well-known one. There's OpenStax, all sorts of resources. So depending on your area of interest, take some time to look at the guide, click through some of these links. I'll just click into one as an example right now. All right, so right now we're in OER Commons, and these are some of the results that we got from doing a search in accounting. And you can see here we have a drop down where you can kind of be more specific in terms of the educational level. So say you're teaching middle school and you want to get more information for accounting that way. You can also limit by material type. So if you wanted to look for case studies or games, all sorts of information here for you. So definitely take a look depending on your area of interest. Go back here. And again, we have more information for business as well here that you can take a look through. The College of Education. So again, these are all links to resources that are considered OER and would be pretty much accessible to anybody, as long as you have internet access, you can access these tools here. Okay, any questions? Can touch on or can move?
There's no questions right now for this, but this is great that it's separated by college and interest, this OER. So.
Yeah, we have a lot of information on the educational side. So this one, for example, online resources about K through 12 resources for online education. So a lot of good resources that we've looked for that we're putting out to you that are accessible to you. There's no cost to any of this.
Can I ask you to click on one of these topics down here, like digital citizenship or whatever, bullying resources, just to see what it entails? Okay.
So right now we're in, it looks like it's called Common Sense, and this, I don't know this particular source myself, but
it breaks down lessons on teaching kind of like civic engagement and civic-minded participation for students in different age groups in different categories. This is one that's specifically put together by our education librarian, Yvonne Root. So if anybody's a teacher that graduated, they might know Yvonne because she does a lot with the education school.
This is great.
And I also wanted to mention real quick, with the OER, there's a lot of things that, for the producers of OER related to educators that are creating like textbooks and things for their classes. But we've also seen a lot of this that you saw in the business where you have like HR managers who are developing full professional development and HR management plans and manuals and things like that for their own businesses, or you have things for, if you're starting a nonprofit organization, there's entire courses and materials that you can put together that go along with those lines that are all under the open education resources.
Okay, so next we're going to go across the guide here, the next tab. So this is New Jersey State and Public Library Resources. So these would be resources that are available to anyone in New Jersey. The only thing that you would need to access a lot of these materials would be making sure that you have a library barcode from one of your libraries. And we have all the information detailed here on this tab here, how to kind of use your library card. By the systems here. So just make sure it's called Jersey Clicks.
Yeah, so this is what your tax dollars pay for if you live in New Jersey.
Yay.
So not a lot of people know that this is available to them. But basically, if any town you live in New Jersey and you pay tax dollars and you have a library card, there are full subscription paid databases that you have access to that you might not be able to find elsewhere. So we put them all here in one location. And all you need, like Sarah mentioned, is the library card from your public library. And you can get into any one of these paid subscription databases with that.
And we break down here some of the free databases that will be available to you with your ID card. So for example, ERIC, that might be a resource.
There's two ERICs, one's free and one's cost. So everything that says Jersey Clicks, you need your library card for.
So you click the link here. Let's see what happens. We're on site now, so perhaps here.
Yeah, so it'll allow you to do a search for whatever you like. And then when you try to access it, that's when it'll ask you for your library barcode. But we're on campus right now, so it's going to be a little bit different for you than it will for us. But for you, it would look similar, and then at the bottom here, you would say get access, and then it would take you to a point where you would put in your library barcode from your public library. But these are all, as you can see, full text academic journals, reports, you name it, just like you would see when you were a student here, the same materials available to you. And if you live in New Jersey, that's your tax dollars at work.
That's good. And that's with their public library card, right?
That's with their public library card. And a lot of these you'll notice we put together, there's some databases that are freely available no matter what. So there's ERIC here, and then there's ERIC by Jersey Clicks. And then down here you'll see Medline PubMed with nothing, and like Masterfile Elite with Jersey Clicks. So the ones that say Jersey Clicks, you will be asked to provide your public library card. For the other ones like Medline and PubMed, you won't be able to. You won't have to, that's free available. You can just go into it and use it no matter what.
Okay. So they're all basically free, but the Jersey Clicks one, you have to use your library card.
Correct.
Okay.
So, and the last thing we'll talk about real quick here is also under the Public Library Resources, New Jersey State Public Library Resources, This is a grant funding. This is something we added because we thought might be interesting to alumni, especially with the the university's repurposing and towards like a civic engagement attitude, a civic engagement mindset for the state. So if you're interested in nonprofit work, if you're in nonprofits, or if you're interested in starting nonprofits, or you're in an industry that's looking for grant funding for projects and information and ideas, we put together this along the New Jersey State Library has compiled a full list of free grant locating sources, as well as grant development and grant assistance programs. So all of these are fully available for finding information on grant programs that are available to you, request proposal alerts, so you're finding out what's going on when people are offering up money out there that you could sign up for to try and get as a part of a grant program. And there's also areas that you can do detailed courses on how to write grant proposals and things of that nature. So that's also available to you here, and these are all freely available as well.
Gary, so
Yes.
some of those New Jersey clicks, that's only for New Jersey residents, but the other stuff is for alumni that are out of state, right? So like everything else on your resources guide is for everybody.
Yes, everything on the guide is for everybody. The ones on here that say Jersey clicks are we've put those because they're linked in New Jersey. If you live out of the state, we presume that your public library and your state library do the same type of scenario. They mostly all do. If they don't, then you can also get access to a lot of this same material through the OA materials, through the open access journals, through the open access repositories. Some may not be there, some may be. It just depends on where you're at. But if you have questions about your own state or public library, you can always email us. There's a chat available. You can ask us and we can look into it for you to find out. And if there's more states that are interested, we can start adding those to the guide as well to make it easier to you as well.
Thank you. So if you're not in state and you do have any questions, you can't find what you need on the OA or the OER, you can email Gary or one of the other presenters, Anna or Sarah, and they'll be happy to help you. So.
Yep. So yeah, just like we said, so not finding the information. Oops, sorry. If you're not finding what you're looking for, just let us know. The guide is a living entity. So we can edit it and add to it, and we constantly, and since the notice went out to the alumni, I think in October, we've added a lot of new resources to it because this is a growing field, and we want to be able to provide as much as we possibly can to the alumni. So every week we're kind of reviewing this, and just last week I went through to make sure all of the links that are on there are active. You don't find any dead links or anything like that. So every link that's on here works properly. I know it's usually a sign of aggravation. And before we finish up, we got a few minutes left. The last thing I'm going to talk about is something that a lot of the alumni are interested in, is the university archives. So what we've put here is a collection of the university archives.
Yeah, hi, this is Anna again. So we have digitized versions of old yearbooks and Pioneer Times and Beacon issues, which is the student newspapers. This is something we're still actively working on. Unfortunately, people often ask, why don't we have more stuff digitized? Well, that's because it costs money, but we are working on it. And we want to keep having collections digitized. And right now, the links are to a platform that we're going away from. We're going to be moving these to WP Sphere, which is, as I mentioned, our new institutional repository. So Gary will be updating these links when we get to that, but know these resources are there. So if you feel like you want to see an old version of the Beacon or our joke issue, the Bacon, that's always fun. I like looking at the old issues of the Bacon. Keep in mind that some of them are there, and if they aren't there yet, we are adding to these collections, and there's more stuff there in the University History Archive.
And I know a lot of alumni like to look to the Beacon to see what time frame they were on campus to recall a lot of the issues of the Beacon that were available and what was going on when they were on campus. And the headline here, this is the first issue of the Beacon welcoming the class of 2001, which is ironically the first day I was on campus as an undergraduate in 1997. We were the first incoming class of William-Patterson University since it had just changed from William-Patterson College.
Oh, that's right. Congratulations.
Yes. All right, so I think that's everything we have available on here. We know we kind of generalized everything. We didn't go into great detail about stuff. We weren't sure, what direction everybody wanted to look at, but we are here for questions if you have any.
Okay, one question, and if anyone has them, you can type them in now. One question is, do they have to obtain anything from you to utilize this, or?
Nope, this is freely available. All they have to do is have an internet access. Find the library homepage like we showed you. It's on the university, under library, and then right under research guides, just type in alumni, and the first result they get will be this guide here. It's also available on the alumni webpage under alumni benefits. So under the alumni benefits, you'll see David Lloyd and Cheng Library. The resource guide is linked right there for you as well. So it's very easy to access. Anything on here, you do not need to sign up. You do not have an email account. You don't have to have on-campus access. Everything that's on here is direct, free public links. The only time you will need any type of library card is when you're accessing anything that's part of the Jersey clicks, and we've identified those things very easily for you.
Okay, another question is, this person says, you have up university archives and also papers from professors. If a student graduates and writes a thesis, can they get this put up on here? An alumnus?
That we would have to talk to the library dean about, because we really haven't talked about retroactive theses submissions. If they want to contact me, they can. So I'm on if you go to the library about page, I think do you want to show them quickly where our contact information is?
So there's.
Or actually, my contact information is right there under WP Sphere. So you can email me about that, and I'll ask, because we have not gotten to that point yet. Again, it's still a new repository, so they can reach out to me.
Yes.
Okay.
We did talk about, we're going to probably adding a link on here to a database. We're trying to figure out how we were going to do it, because there is a dissertation and theses collection of already existing William Patterson University theses and dissertations. But as of right now, that's still under ProQuest, so you need to actually be on campus to get access to it. We're trying to figure out a way that we can figure that out.
Yeah, well, ProQuest also has some open access dissertations and theses. It's called PQDT Open, but it's a limited number of theses and dissertations because people have to pay to make them open access here. We have things that for faculty, students, and staff, we provide open access for free. So.
Okay, there's a couple of comments and questions. One comment, I just want to mention to you that this alumna graduated in '78 and is an author and a consultant writing about young children in early education who are English learners. And she did not know anything about this. It's been a revelation, and she might be using this every day, she said. So I just want to let you know that. So thank you very much for bringing this out. And another person mentioned that in the university archives, I know you showed the beacon, but also yearbooks are on here, right?
Yes, the yearbooks are here. Yep. The beacon, Pioneer Times, and these are the Pioneer Times and the beacon here. These are the digitized versions that we've actually been able to digitize, archive the older versions, older editions. The current issues, if you want to see what's going on campus now, are linked here as well. And all those, you don't need any passwords or anything else to get into, so you can check out what's going on campus in the Beacon and Pioneer Times, or read the old editions too.
Okay, and the yearbooks, you can download whole yearbooks as PDF.
Yeah. Yes, you can.
That's so.
You can search for yourself in there.
Yeah.
Can you go open the class of what class were you, Gary?
I don't think my name's in there. I don't think my picture's in there.
Yeah, he might be in some of the newer yearbooks, which we digitized, but we haven't had a chance to edit and put online. It's a lot of work to get these digital collections together. So. Yeah,
because the yearbooks, they're digitized using OCR, so the optimal calculation. Yeah. So you can actually do word searches on them, keyword searching on them. And then each one of them has to have individual metadata attached to it. In order to be in the system. So it's a very long and time-consuming process. It's not just copying and throwing it up on a web page. So there's a lot involved.
Well, this is great. There's a lot of information here. So, I mean, it's great for teachers who are looking for information. It's great for people who are going back to school, need to resources to write thesis or anything like that. So it's really a lot of information. I hope that you all will use this. I mean, they put so much work into it, and thank you for doing it. And we are actually, all of us are alumni. You know, Gary is, Anna is, I am, and Sarah is. So, or they will be. And
Not yet. I've got 2 more classes after this semester.
you're almost there. So we really do want to give benefits to our alumni, and we think this is a great one. I mean, I know I'm always writing papers, and this is great for me to even know. I didn't even know about it, and I'm in the alumni office. So, well, you guys told me, but so thank you. So, if
I
anyone
want to stress that this is a living entity. So please, if you're not finding what you're looking for, please let us know. This general email right here will go to all the reference librarians. As the outreach librarian, I'm the liaison with the alumni office, so you can easily contact me. And then if there's anything quick you need help with, you always use the chat. I mean, the chat is 24/7. You'll get a librarian answering you. There's some hours of the day that's not a librarian from William Patterson, but you'll get an answer from somebody.
That's a great service to have too, especially for our alumni who are not in state and might be, different time zones. So, but thank you. This is a really great resource. And let me see, I see something. Oh, someone said nice job. So thank you very much for doing this, Gary, Anna, and Sarah. And also just want to let everybody who's on here know that you also can visit the library in person, right? If you need an alumni ID card, you can call the alumni office and request one, or stop by and visit us, and we will give you one on the spot, or we'll mail them out. And other than that, wait, hold on, I see more stuff.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we forgot to mention the library got a renovation this summer. If you're interested in seeing what the library looks like now, you can check out our little transformation video to see the renovations that took place. It's only a short little 1-minute clip, but you can actually see if you would not have been on campus within the last 6 months, the library looks completely different. So take a look.
So you can come visit us, or you can go remotely. Either one. We offer it all, right, Gary? So thank you all. I know people have to go, so thank you very much for this. It's been wonderful. We have recorded this presentation. We will be putting it on our YouTube channel. So if anybody wants to go back and look at it and just check out where people went and how to get into it, feel free to do that. It'll be up probably later this afternoon. So thank you all for attending. Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Anna. The presentation was wonderful. And we'll see you at our next webinar. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.